What's up, everybody? Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming here, and I want to take a look back and talk about Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 for a minute. It's not often that I talk about fighting games because, admittedly, and I'm the first one to admit, I'm not a pro when it comes to fighting games by no means. There's a select few that I'm really good at, and there are those that I just play, I play them just for the sake of playing them, whether I'm good at them or not. Like Tekken, for example. I'm not really great at Tekken, but I like playing as Dragunov. We all got that particular thing that makes us play different fighting games. From the good to the bad to the mediocre, anything in between. There's something for a person who's into the fighting game genre. Now, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Everyone remembers when this game first dropped back in the, I think it was 2010s or 2000. I don't remember specifically when this game came out, but I remember it was wrapped in a lot of controversy. And that's when I started to learn what gaming controversies are, because I learned from Angry Joe when he made a video talking about Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, or Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as a whole. Now, years later, since it was remastered for the PS4, Xbox One generation, I have it now on PS5, and I'm like, let me play it for myself. Because it's been a long time. I played base Marvel vs. Capcom 3 a few times, never owned it. I never really truly got the chance to sit down and play Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 because I never owned this one. The only one I owned, like I said, was the first version of Part 3, because this is the basically Ultimate version, which at the time Capcom has this habit of, or they still do, they'll release a base version of the game, just base with nothing in it, and then all the stuff that was supposed to be expansions, DLCs, or stuff that was supposed to be in the game itself, they'll just create like an Ultimate or Superior, or just remaster the game or remake the game with all the stuff that should have been in it the first time. And they still do that here and there, but it's not as bad. At least now they've got pretty decent when it comes to their DLC. But as a fighting game, where does it stand as a fighting game? Why the hell did Marvel vs. Capcom make... Why did Capcom even make Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite? This game is leagues better than Infinite, and of course it's better than its base version of regular Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The definitive way to play Marvel vs. Capcom 3, yes, is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And I know everyone's going to wonder, well, John, the greatest Marvel vs. Capcom game was Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I highly agree with you. But if we were to settle for second best, or at least a game that stands next to it, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 really stands as the best crossover fighting game that I've played, besides Smash Bros. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Smash Bros. Is the ultimate crossover. Yes, but since I'm not a Super Smash Bros. Fan, I'm not saying fan, I like the games, I'll play them, but I'm not a fanboy of goddamn, I can't even say the fucking game straight, of Super Smash Bros. Because I know Super Smash Bros. Has Ultimate in the title some fucking where. That's why I'm getting baffled and confused. But here, you take a lot of my core favorite Capcom characters and a couple of my core Marvel characters, and you put them in a fighting game. Hell, I want to give it a try. Now, I'm used to fighting games that are combo based, and if you know what I mean by combo based, I'm used to Mortal Kombat, for example. I'm used to Mortal Kombat style of gameplay. I'm used to Injustice style of gameplay. I'm used to Tekken, which is button combinations, button presses. But the one thing I know with these arcade style fighters like Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, so on, is that they rely on a lot of, what is the term, the quarter circle concept, or the quarter circle combat, where you have to basically do all these weird maneuvers, sometimes with the analog stick, or with the D-pad and analog stick together to do all these crazy and outrageous moves. And the fact that this is a tag game, really, I'm not used to... See, here's the thing, I don't dislike tag team systems in video games. It's just I'm preferring to a one-on-one style brawl. Here, I know you can do that here. You can cut out, if you play privately with your friends, you could choose to use one character, again, versus 3. But here, this is the only game where I'm all for tag team. The only other game that I like tag teaming is Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks and Mortal Kombat 9, the first reboot. Here, I like mixing the combination of characters. Everybody fits with somebody, even characters you didn't think they could work together. Like, when I played the game the first time, yeah, I went basic. I went for my Resident Evil characters, because everyone knows I love Resident Evil. So, I wanted to see how does Wesker play? How does Jill play? How does Chris play? Hell, how does Nemesis play? Then I started to be like, who can these characters also team with? I started experimenting with different tag teams. I started experimenting with different modes, which is something also in this game that I like the features of. There's a couple different modes that, besides an arcade or online versus mode, that gives you reason to play. There's challenge missions for each character where you do several different, like you go down almost like a ladder system. You go to like a ladder system with each character, and you do specific challenges to move up. I forgot the name of that mode, but my personal favorite mode is Heroes and Heralds, which is kind of like this grid-based mode. It's like a grid-based with a card system. You put different cards on your team to receive different buffs, strengths, anything to help you in the battle against enemies of varying difficulty. And it gets harder as it goes. Different characters will show up randomly to your fight, characters that you can see coming on a grid. Like, you basically got to go down this grid system and hunt down and fight specific characters and get them off the grid for bigger bonuses. It relies on like a point system. It's like the more points you get, the higher you move up and the more stuff you unlock. So that's why I really like this mode. Even though I wish the characters in that mode didn't just have the Metal Mario aesthetic, I still like it. And going into the arcade mode, you can, of course, it's traditional arcade. You go up the ladder, get different characters' endings due to varying difficulty. But I gotta say that, the mode for me, yeah, it's Heroes and Heralds. I really do like that mode. One of my friends, the Devil Slayer Kage, if you guys need to look into his channel, please do. He is more of an expert when it comes to this stuff and fighting. And I still have to get a couple rounds with him because he's one of the very people who basically religiously will play this game, that I know. And if anybody that I need to go to when it comes to fighting concepts or information for fighting games, or if it's something that he knows that I don't, he's the guy to go to when it comes to this sort of thing. I'm pretty sure there's others. We have a couple others, but at least from my knowledge, he's the one to go to. And hopefully I can get a few rounds with him on this game. I know he's probably far better than I am, but it'll give me a reason to keep getting better and to keep progressing through the game. Now, when I bought this game, I bought it during this passing holiday, this passing Christmas. And, for $10, you don't think much of it. And I want to say that even if it was like $20, $25, I'd probably be willing to pay that. I've had several opportunities to do that in the past, but other games came out that I just, had more precedent for. But I do not regret my purchase of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I really do like the fast-paced gameplay. It feels very fluid. You can change the control styles. That's one thing I need to mention. You could change the control styles from, like I said, if you don't like that whole combining analog stick movements or the D-pad doing these weird little quarter circle movements, you can change the controls. They have original control styles. They have something called simplified, which is for newcomers to the game, which that means you can just you could do one-hit button combos. But me, I prefer to play it the normal way because the idea is to progress and learn and to fight the challenges that the game throws at you. I kind of wish that this game would have gotten more support, more characters. I wish they would just dump Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and just bring over some of the characters that are exclusive to that game, just put them in this game. And the only thing I can say that I did like from Infinite, I know a lot of people are 50-50, but if utilized correctly, it's a good mechanic, which is the Infinity Stones concept. So if you were just to take the good things you introduced in Infinite, put it into Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, along with its newer characters that are only in that game and not this one, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you should just may as well take the 3 out and call this game Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. This game is as close as you could get to Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is the crossover that a lot of people have grown up with and love dearly. I grew up with, in the arcades, I grew up with Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I used to play that shit all the time when they had an arcade at the mall when I was around 12 years old, 13 years old. I used to play that shit all the time. And I was heavily disappointed when I first played the first version of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So I always stuck to more like hardcore serious fighters, at least at the time. Modern fighters aren't shit anymore. Let's be real. Modern fighters are not are basically shit now. It just we bear through it. There's only a select few like Tekken 7, Street Fighter 5. What's that other game? What's that other fighting game? It was just on the tip of my tongue too. I just had it. I can tell you none of the newer Mortal Kombats are difficult, and none of the newer and none of the Injustice games are difficult. That's basically the Fisher Price of fighting games. But hey, there's only one person on the internet who says that's hardcore, and that's Quantum TV. But anyway, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. If you own it, or at least own this Ultimate version, tell me what you think. Do you enjoy it? Is this a game that you have enjoyed? You know, for me, I put a couple of hours in it here and there. I enjoy playing it. You know, it's more so obviously to be played with friends and just go back and forth and fight each other. But at least it has a lot of offline things to keep you entertained and at least to keep your skills nice and sharp like Wolverine's claws or Strider's blade. Anyway, this is Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming. Be sure to like, subscribe, favorite. Tell me what you think about Ultimate vs. Capcom 3 in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.